The ordinary wish-fulfilling gem. Talopa sat for a year motionless and stiff like a log, as if he had lost the power of movement. He was silent like one bereft of speech, and he remained in a state in which no habit-forming thoughts entered, as if his mind had lost its agility. I don't know. This is what happens on everyone. Talopa sat silent for a year. And, you know, for a year, Naropa kind of follows along, you know. But at some point, he can't deal anymore with his silent Talopa and his meditative absorption, and he begs for teachings. And he gets creamed every time. He gets slammed like he can't believe, you know. But it's sort of, you know, when you meditate, your mind's very still, but you can't rest, you know. So you got to stir up some stuff, you know. So this is Naropa stirring up some stuff and getting killed. Naropa made the appropriate gesture, circumambulated with folded hands, and prayed. When once in a while Talopa turned his head and stared at him, Naropa asked for instructions with the words, "If you want instruction, follow me." Talopa climbed to the top of the temple of Otantra, which had a triple Chinese roof, and straddled the wings of one of the ornamental birds. Then he said, "If I had had a disciple, he would have jumped down from here." Thinking that these words were meant for him, Naropa unhesitatingly leaped down, crashed to the ground, and lay there like a corpse, overcome by intolerable pain. Talopa asked, "What is wrong with you?" And Naropa replied, "This lump of a body, fashioned by former deeds, is broken like a reed and nearly dead." Talopa said, "Naropa, your clay picture of a body, believing in an eye, deserves to be broken. Consider the wish-fulfilling gem, the mysterious home of Buddhas and Dakinis in the present, past, and future." Every time it goes exactly like this. Stroking Naropa with his hand, he restored his body to its former state. He then instructed him in the ordinary wish-fulfilling gem, which he had received personally from Geshe Mikgyal Jnana Dhaka in Urian, Swat. About the method of realizing the mother Hangjigshikma, which includes the procedures symbolized by the king as the unchanging and ever-present reality, the three ministers as the executive, and the subjects as the occasion for practicing. In these instructions, the preliminaries are the three ministers as executive, which means purification from defilement by evil, or meditation on Vajrasattva, and the recital of his mantra, the perfection of the prerequisites and uniting with the Guru Yoga, and the spiritual maturation or acquisition of the capacity for meditative absorption, Guru Yoga. The substance is the king as the unchanging reality. It is approaching by the developing stage called the ordinary wish-fulfilling gem. Developing stage is the name for the purificatory practice of the four modes of origination concerning the three existential phenomena by four creative acts. These are the purifications of womb birth by 5 intuitive realizations, egg birth by a certain mode of recitation, heat and moisture birth by applying the triple method, and spontaneous birth by the method of momentary complete inspection. The object of the developing stage is to purify the three existential phenomena of birth, death, and intermediate state between death and rebirth by the appropriate means. The adept, therefore, conceives himself as Samayasattva in the form of the god Haruka, who is the lord of 62 gods and goddesses. He is the deep blue color, has 4 faces and has 16 arms, and is embraced by his spouse. His right leg is stretched and his left leg slightly bent. He expresses the 9 moods such as coquetry, coquettishness, and others. He wears the 8 emblems of the cremation ground and is adorned with various ornaments. He stands on a throne formed by a lotus and a sun, and tramples on Bhairava and Kali Ratri. This lotus and sun throne is in the middle of the great blessed center in a square palace with 4 arched gates, and is richly decorated with emblems. Within it are the focal points of authentic existence, and it is surrounded by flames and ceremonial cremation grounds. Birth is purified when the deities, male and female, have put on their respective apparel, and when in a general way the adept feels graced by authentic being. The intermediate state is purified by summoning Yeshishmatra, Shnanasattva, sealing, worshipping, lauding, and muttering the heart mantras of the male and female deities. When by the light radiating from one's heart, the world as a vessel and the sentient beings as its content, the residents and their residences have been gathered and dissolved in oneself. And when finally even sound, nada, is resolved into the radiant light, death is purified by one's continuing in this state for a long time. The firm pride in the appearance of the deities out of the radiant light as being nothing in themselves is said to be the real sign of the experience of the developing stage. The essential purification practice as regards the 3 existential phenomena of birth, death, and the intermediate stage by him who practices the fulfillment stages as follows. Structure are pathways, movement are the activeness of motility, and creativity or enlightenment as potentiality are brought into radiance. It goes on like that for a while. Anyway, so we go through the 12 major trials. Okay, well, I'm able to do a little mahamudra. This is the 11th. 12 is the intermediate state. We were going to talk about mahamudra, so let's talk about mahamudra. 12, mahamudra. Again, Tilopa acted for 1 year as before. When Naropa made his mandala and venerated him with folded hands, Tilopa glanced once at him. Naropa prayed and asked for instructions. So before it was eternal light, and it was all about get a girl, all this stuff with a girl, but then they don't talk to each other anymore. They don't relate. It's all kind of problems and suffering. Okay. Naropa prayed and asked for instruction. If you want instruction, give me your girl. When Naropa did so, the girl turned her back to Tilopa, looked at Naropa, smiled, and cast sidelong glances to him. Tilopa beat her and said, "You do not care for me. You only care for Naropa." Naropa did not lose faith in the propriety of the Guru's actions, and when he sat there happily without the girl, Tilopa asked him, "Are you happy, Naropa?" And Naropa answered, "Bliss is to offer the mudra as fee to the Guru who is Buddha himself unhesitatingly." Tilopa said, "You are worthy of bliss eternal, Naropa." This girl is kind of, doesn't really exist. I mean, It's not real once it's happening. On the path of infinite reality, look into the mirror of your mind, which is Mahamudra, the mysterious home of the Dakini. And he gave him the instruction on the illuminating Mahamudra transcending awareness. The instruction is threefold. 1, through mystic illumination to determine the unoriginatedness or the ground of being in itself, Mahamudra. 2, through subsequent presentational knowledge to recognize the unceasing or the path of Mahamudra. And 3, through the relation of coincidence to realize the ineffable or the goal Mahamudra. 1, original knowledge, genuine and transcendent, is in itself nothing, but may under conditions become anything. In itself, it is ultimate beyond truth. Conventionally, in its working, it is not falsehood. It does not originate as the extreme of existence, nor does it vanish into the extreme of non-existence, nor does it remain in differentiatedness. Free from the 8 possible extremes, beyond the 3 pitfalls of bewilderment, errancy, nothingness, and yet, having all causal characteristics, it is directly realized in mystic illumination, which recognizes spirituality as it is in itself. 2, in nothingness, which is present unceasingly, there arises pure sensation. In its manifestation as unceasing pure sensation, individual mind affected by the emotions clings inwardly looking to an ego. And looking outward through the 5 senses, it particularizes. This bewilderment of dual appearance of subject and object, which is called nirvana and samsara respectively, has never appeared as true appearance. It is only pointed out by similes applying to bewilderment in dreams. This presentational knowledge is realized as what it is when its contents come up like an apparition or as nothing solid. 3, this pure sensation, which is ineffable even if one tries to express it in words, which is radiant and yet nothing, which is devoid of the 3 conditions of concretization beyond the 4 types of delight, even more superb than the radiant light, utterly transcendent, rises as nothingness, having the intrinsic character of compassion for the benefit of sentient beings. It is realized when one has reached the stage of great one-valueness or coincidence. Its mode of experience is such that when it rests, one sees that which rests face to face. It is a brilliant sensation, which is nothing in itself, devoid of and beyond all words and thought, like the expanse of a bright sky. When it appears as the objects of the 5 senses, one sees that which appears face to face. It is eternal delight, which also is like an apparition, is nothing in itself, and the one-valueness of all that appears, and that apart from it is held to be absolutely true. When moving, one sees that which moves face to face. This light of the intuitive understanding through mystic illumination, which is not concerned with a determinate object and yet is compassion for the benefit of bewildered beings, is realized after the lower stage of the realization that there is nothing to be meditated upon. This is the profound mode of seeing that which rests and moves face to face. Although the state that there is nothing to be meditated upon is forever mystic illumination, it is not contradictory to the manifestation of presentational knowledge as compassion or the way leading beyond this world. In the Dutspa Harya Prajna Paramitam Mamkatangla Gata, it is stated that a bodhisattva living a life of equanimity knows that all is nothing and unborn since time without beginning. He is compassionate to those who have not yet attained mystic illumination, and so he parts not with the Buddha's teaching. I don't know if that makes any sense. You gotta dig it out, man.